Hi, welcome to Ladies of Another View on Beck, and we are here today with Jan, Andrea, and Mary.
Hello.
And we're going to have a few guests later in the show coming up after this segment. We're going to have Dr. Jean Gullicks, and she's a nurse practitioner, and she's also a therapist, and specializing in children in learning specialties, and we're going to talk about how the pandemic has affected them. And then later in the show, we will have Senator Jana Myrtle, and she's going to talk about the bill involving Planned Parenthood and NDSU, because apparently not everybody agrees, like the president of NDSU, to go along with it, and it is now waiting for Governor Burgum's signature, unless he vetoes it. So we're going to talk about that later in the show, so stick with us. But first, I want to talk about, now that a year of the pandemic is in the rearview mirror, and some states were very strict about lockdowns. As a matter of fact, you know that in California, it's only been 2 weeks since they've been able to have indoor services for church.
Wow.
Only 2 weeks.
That's tragic.
Yeah, hard to believe. And then we know South Dakota really didn't have any lockdowns. But I was in South Dakota during, in the past year, and it wasn't entirely that much different. And that's what they're finding, is that the states that had the strict lockdowns, really the rates of spreading the virus wasn't that much different. It really made no difference, but people kind of moderated themselves and decided their own behaviors.
Well, we've always been able to moderate ourselves. That's the thing we've been pushing for, is for everyone to have their own choices. I think a lot of times that a lot of these measures have been a bullying tactic. It's kind of an authoritarian narrative, and then it's just full of half-truths and a lot of fear. I know locally we've had a lot of people that have bullied us. The bar and restaurant owners were told they couldn't be open any later than 10 p.m. And a bar usually does its best business from 10 p.m. on. So a lot of the bar and restaurant owners got together and they threatened to sue the governor, and they threatened to sue the state of North Dakota. And the next day, guess what? Those mandates got lifted. Same thing happened with Bismarck Public Schools last night. All of the parents gathered. They were bringing their forces to the public school board meeting, and then the superintendent played hero and lifted the mandate. However, he had held it above the heads of the children all this time, and to me, it's a bullying tactic. Here, you can come back to school and play with your friends if you wear a mask. It just, doesn't do me any good.
We're better at self-moderating than that. I know, so I winter in Florida, so I was in Florida when the lockdowns first started, and they didn't last very long, but as soon as they lifted, people made their own choices about whether to go out and whether to not go out. And I'll tell you that it was really quite quiet. It is a majority elderly population, and there were people who were older who were out, but there's plenty of people who did not. And you could see that the traffic was lighter, all of the stores, it was just lighter traffic, and it was mostly younger people who were out. And that's because they were making the decisions for themselves whether or not it's appropriate to go out in public and to do the things that they felt that they either needed to do or even just wanted to do. Like, they had the right and the ability to make that decision and determine what was the right choice for them and take action based on that. And even if they were older, if they were older, maybe their health was better or they didn't have any underlying conditions, then they were able to make that decision, and no one had to make it for them. Nobody had to give a blanket edict saying, you stay home, you can go out, and you can't. No.
But they had a lot of advertising with the elderly regarding, hey, if you want to see your grandkids again, go ahead and get vaccinated. We'll all get back to normal as soon as you're vaccinated. That should also be a choice. The face mask should be a choice. The vaccination should be a choice. If you want it, great, go get it. If you don't want it, great, don't get it. But here's what I have a problem with. I think we've dumbed down America by at least a year with all these kids in school. Are you kidding me? A lot of them, you hate to say it, but they didn't have good parental guidance at home prior to something like this. And who sat down and helped them with their homework? Did they learn anything over the last year? I've heard a lot of stories about kids that are really struggling in school because of the lockdown, and shame on America for doing that. Shame on anyone who thinks that a mask is going to hold back a virus, or that I'm just beyond myself. I think
Yeah.
I better stop while I'm ahead.
Well, part of it, you know, when this all started, we didn't really know. We had never experienced anything like this. And so I give
But
people...
they soon found out that a piece of cotton cloth isn't going to stop a virus. I think we all know that.
Well, and there's a lot of parents that, you know, you talk to them and you ask them, you know, how's your kid doing with the mask? And they're saying, well, yeah, they take it with them everywhere. Well, how many do they have? Well, just one.
Yeah,
well,
they
so
never
do you
wash 'em?
do
So
you
it
wash
wasn't
it every
even-
night?
yeah, it wasn't even been worn
No,
properly.
it's in their backpack. They just use it every day. And I can't figure out why my kid's been sick all year.
Right, and then we had people on from OSHA that said in order to wear a face mask properly, you must take it out of the box by the elastic, do not touch the front, put it over your ears. And if you touch that mask one time, you need a new mask.
Yeah.
So who did that? These kids had their face masks in their backpack for the last 8 months. They really have.
It's warm
Gross.
and wet, and you throw it in the bottom of a bag. I wonder
Oh.
what's gonna. Oh, that's
Oh,
disgusting.
yes. Well, and then they all have rashes on their faces,
Yes,
and it's like we
acne,
can't figure out where it's coming
maskne.
from.
Oh, they got a new word, maskne. And it's like,
Maskne? Oh,
you know what,
fun.
just do away with the masks already.
Seriously.
Well, part of the problem has been that some of us feel like, let us make our decisions, let us know what the risks are, and other people are feeling like, well, wait, you're endangering me. But I want to talk about that these are not conservative sources. I'll just talking about lockdowns, like Forbes magazine says that the National Academy of Science did some studies, and there's been no difference like with the lockdowns. We're not just talking about masks, but the lockdowns, that really it didn't make any difference whether they were strict or whether they were not. And then there was a Time article that said the lockdowns actually, they're looking at some of the research and studies, did more harm than good, because we have to look at our younger generation. And I was going to put this video up, and I decided it was so sad, I decided not to do it, of a father who talked about his 18-year-old who was a football player and an A student, and he felt like the pandemic put him over the edge because the things that he had that kept him busy and occupied were taken away from him. And there's a lot of doctors that have come forward, and we're going to have Dr. Jean Gullicks talking about this in the next segment, that said there were children as young as 8 running in front of traffic, overdosing, just feeling this total loss and desolation. And excuse me, they looked at cell phone records in one of the studies at University of Chicago, Harris School of Public Policy, and they found that people didn't really travel less based on what the state was telling them to do. And so shouldn't we just let people decide, know the risks, and make those decisions for themselves?
I think, like Andrea said, that we are all big enough, smart enough, educated enough to make those decisions for ourselves. We've been doing it throughout time. We tell our kids not to touch a hot stove. We tell our kids not to run out in front of traffic. I think we know better.
And now we know, we've got some data behind us. We can look at some of the studies and say, well, what happened here? And we can't do this again. You know,
No.
whatever
Amen.
happens,
Amen.
variants or whatever, we have to do it differently.
Oh, but
going
they're already
forward.
talking about what to do for the next pandemic.
Yeah.
And that was just on the news a couple days ago. And
Or-
it's like,
yeah.
we've got to stop things in
Not
their
going to be a
tracks.
rerun.
Not
No,
here.
No,
Absolutely.
So we'll be right back with Dr. Jean Gullicks, and we're going to talk some more about how this has affected children with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county.
Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Committed suicide. Oh, 30 seconds. Felt like shouldn't wear a mask properly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tough.
Oh, welcome back. I'm sorry. Deer in the headlights here. Welcome back to Ladies with Another View. And we are joined here with Dr. Jean Gullicks. She traveled all the way from Grand Forks to join us. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And you're also a nurse practitioner, and you specialize in child development, right?
That's correct. Yep. And mental health.
And mental health. And I met you over, there was some speakers talking about, from OSHA, talking about masks and children, and I heard that there was an 8-year-old in our state that committed suicide. And I'm sorry, this is really hard to talk about, but we do need to talk about it because our children have been affected in a lot of different ways. And I want you to share with us, you want to talk at least briefly about the tragedy of what happened with that 8-year-old.
Yes, this was early on even. She was a good student involved in activities. She was terrified that she would kill her grandmother, that if her grandmother visited her or she visited grandma, that she would die. She didn't get to see her friends, so one day she said, I don't get to see my friends, I don't get to see my grandma. She went into the house, and unfortunately there was a gun there, and she shot herself. And it's such a tragedy. And the suicide rates in teens and 9 to 11-year-olds have gone way up. They have gone up 55% over what they were, and even higher in some areas.
That's heartbreaking. I mean,
tell me some of the things that are at play here, because it's been hard for adults. Didn't you wake up and say, am I dreaming this? Will this just go away? How has it affected children?
It has been devastating on the children. Emotionally, the anxiety and depression is so high. They're even getting antidepressants now for grade school kids. They have anxiety and fear. They're afraid of hurting themselves. They're afraid of getting help, getting hurt. So when they see someone with a mask, they're afraid. If they see someone without a mask, they're afraid. So they're very confused. And this includes the teens. Not seeing friends, not having prom, not having graduations. Academically, they're estimating they're up to 18 months behind. And many of the kids I know say, I can't motivate anymore, I can't do my schoolwork, I can't concentrate online. And now some of them are back in school and they feel lost. They have been impacted physically, weight gain, not exercising, not motivated now, so they're feeling really down. They lost their one chance at sports. Scholarships have dropped because they failed classes that they never had before. So basically what they're missing is the bridge from teenage to adult. So that bridge is huge. The other group that's really strongly affected are the middle school kids. They're learning to communicate in who they are. And they don't see communication well. If you smile and you have a mask on, it looks like you're frowning.
Yeah.
And that's what kids are picking up on. But these kids need to learn from peers, not from parents. And so the grade school kids, because parents are pretty giving. They'll let you choose a game you want to play, but peers, you have to battle it out and see what you want to do. Now, there are some kids that are doing better. Those tend to be the kids that were bullied, because now they don't have to face that fear every day. There are a few top students who have maybe a mother at home who's not working, who have done okay, but the majority have lost a lot.
I read that, and this was a while ago, so I haven't kept up on it. I don't remember what the study, who did the study, but that our students have lost quite a bit in reading and math.
Yes.
That them being at home. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, the ACT scores and the SAT scores are way down in English and math.
And that's at the older levels.
That's at the high
Yeah,
school level.
so,
If you have these kinds of problems going on up through third grade especially, you don't recover well. Now, there are some resilient kids, but when they go back to school, they're not going to be true fourth graders or true second graders because they have lost their foundation. So it's going to be detrimental for a long time.
So then this is going to be just as hard on the instructors or the teachers as it will for the kids, because they are almost misplaced grade-wise.
Yes. So the teachers' typical curriculum for fourth grade will have to be modified because the third graders didn't get that. And it's not that there was an attempt to educate them, but the kids are not made for online learning.
No.
It just has not worked.
No, I'm not really made for online learning either. I know for some people it's good and it has its advantages, but there is something lost when you're not with other people, because you kind of pick up on their energy and their thoughts. And I keep saying, okay, I get it that we didn't really know all the facts, but now we do.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know that it hasn't been good for kids, and so I hope we never go back there again. And do you know, have you heard about any courses or programs to help bring children up to par educationally, but not just educationally? So I'm kind of asking you two questions here. Not just educationally, but what about emotionally? So maybe talk about one first, the education, and then what do we have to know about our kids to help? There must be a level of PTSD that they're experiencing.
There is a big level of PTSD, which is an anxiety disorder.
Okay.
So educationally, there are a few parents, I don't know how many, I know of two who have enrolled their children in private online courses. And they seem to be doing a little bit better. The homeschool group is thriving because it wasn't a big change for them. The kids have lost about 85% in the learning curve right now. What was the other part of your question?
Okay, well, so the learning. I
Okay.
wanted to talk about the learning, and then I want to talk about emotionally.
Okay.
Because any parents or grandparents, relatives watching, what kind of things can they do? What should they be looking for? Because when I watched the previous school board, there was a school board meeting in Bismarck yesterday, but the one from a couple weeks ago, there were parents saying that their kids are afraid because they're told, do you want to kill your grandmother or your principal because you're not wearing your mask correctly, or the social distancing? And for us, we know, like, just be careful, we don't want to spread it. But for them, they believe in a lot of things that I want to be careful because kids could be watching. I don't want to.
Well, the emotional impact is probably more devastating, definitely more devastating than COVID itself for kids. Kids are at very, very low risk. There's some high school kids that I talked to who called this a desolation of nothingness. Now, that's not how kids should be feeling. There's preschool kids who don't know how to play, they don't know how to interact. They haven't been around other kids. So that's where you learn social interactions. That's where you learn who you are and what you're doing. So from infant on up, there's been harmful, detrimental effects to children in, trying to protect adults. And that's really not fair, and it's never been done in this country where things are done to children that are detrimental to adults.
So
Or to them, to affect.
Going forward, what if you're a parent? What kind of conversation should you be having with your children?
So as a parent, there's a lot of things you can do. Remember 2 years ago, what did you do? You know, they were going to school, of course, but were you interacting? Were you playing with them? Did they have play dates? You want to get back to typical things. So eating right, which is not happening for most of them. Physical activity, unconditionally loving these kids, and when they bring up fears, don't minimize it, because their fears are very, very real. You need to be there and be present and listen to them, because a lot of kids, 77% of the kids that I've talked to say their mom's on the phone more than they're talking to me.
Oh, okay, so put the phones down, pay attention to your kids, have some conversations, think about what you did last year, maybe talk to them about that. Jean's going to stay with us. We're going to be right back and talk about something that happened at the Bismarck Public School board meeting last night. That's pretty inspirational, I hope. We'll be right back with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Indoor football is back in Bismarck. Bucks football season is right around the corner. Grab a friend or family member for a night of action-packed, hard-hitting entertainment. The Bucks open at the Bismarck Event Center May 8th as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. Catch the sweetest seats in the house right on the sidelines with VIP service at a Bucks turf table. Available now for single game purchases. Secure your tickets today by calling 701-595-0771. Bucks football, half the field and double the fun.
At Beck Communications, we've been planning for your future. Over the past decade, we've placed nearly 200,000 miles of dedicated fiber optics in the ground. Enough fiber optic strands to circle the world 8 times. Taking no shortcuts, we connected every home and business in our service area with dedicated fiber optics. It's your personal, unrestricted, unthrottled connection to the world. Best of all, this dedicated fiber means you do not share your connection. We call this intimate dedicated connection Beck Fiber.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream sheets. When you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car!
How will we?
The car! Your offer has been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing.
But how will we?
The closing!
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We are once again joined by Dr. Jean Gullicks, and she is a nurse practitioner and also specializes in children's development. I want to talk about last night's school board meeting. It was packed because there were a lot of parents that were protesting wearing masks at school, and it was announced that the mandate was going to be lifted. The children were not going to have to wear masks anymore. But in the meantime, we had a packed house, standing room only, and there was a mom who stood up and made a request, and I want you to watch this video.
Hello, my name is Becky Berkeley,
And we just wanted to address something that my family has been going through and has become pretty public recently. Our son would have been a senior this year. Unfortunately, my family suffered the ultimate loss when he passed away in 2019, his sophomore year. At the time of his passing, we had received messages and cards from the class of 2021 stating, "You will be terribly missed, and we will save a seat for you at graduation." We had also been told that the Dean of Students wanted to figure out something to do to honor him at graduation. This was all brought to an end when I received an email from Brandon's student counselor saying she was so sorry to inform me, but the school wouldn't be doing anything for him and it's against their policy. We were heartbroken, to say the least. Brandon's dad, Travis, reached out to the principal personally to express our disappointment. He had responded stating he had talked with the other principals and superintendent, and everyone agreed that doing so would bring up some difficult emotions, and that would be not be able to do anything for us. We have been told that the students have also reached out to him, telling them that they do want to do something for our son, but we're met with the same response. There's been a lot of confusion and hurt because the school has done memorials and recognitions for students in the recent past. My daughter started a petition this past Saturday, letting our community know about the situation we were in and wanting to change things not only for us, but for any future families that will go through the loss of a child. So far, that petition has raised 1,461 signatures from our community. These are people in our community wanting things to change. All we are asking for is for a policy to be put in place that when a child passes away, a chair is left empty with their name on it at graduation, just like every other child. We understand that they can't have their name recognized or called. They didn't graduate. We understand that. We're just simply asking for an empty chair with their name on it. We understand that not every family wants this, and it may cause more pain. So our goal is for each school to reach out to these families personally and ask if they would like to see saved or not. It's a small gesture that means more than I can even begin to express to you. It shows that you acknowledge that they were a student that meant something to the school and that you care enough to remember them. Thank you for your time.
There wasn't a dry eye in the house, and it's pretty hard right now, too.
I know, just hearing it again. It was standing room only, so I was in the front to the right, and I could see everybody. There wasn't a dry eye. Everybody was crying, and I talked to her later, and she didn't realize that, because she's being told no, that she can't have a chair. Now, she stayed afterwards and did talk with the superintendent, Jason Hornbacher, who said there would be some conversations, because the principal keeps saying, no, we can't have a chair for your son Brandon, even though they were told we'll have a chair for him. They don't want a big hoopla. It's graduation. He was part of that class. And she just thought, why not extend that offer to a parent? He died from asthma, as a matter of fact, in case you're wondering. He had an asthma attack, and his younger brother was with him. And his sister Brooke, who I also talked with, they just are so inspirational. They want to make a difference, and they feel Brandon's presence there with him, getting them to do things they never did before, being activists and speaking at the school board meeting. And Jean, I would like to hear what you have to say about maybe the schools are trying to protect people from grief, or what do you think about how important it might be for the class as well as the family?
I think it's extremely important. Grief is one of the things that's been derailed during the pandemic. People have died alone. Families have not been able to gather for funerals. And with kids, especially kids who are requesting, it's adults seem to have this thought that if you don't talk about it or you don't acknowledge it, then everybody's going to forget about it and have a good time. If the kids are requesting it and it's a legitimate request, having him present by acknowledging the absence with an empty chair will give those kids more closure and more joy. They'll be angry. Graduation will be not a fun, wonderful time if they find out that their request as students is denied.
Seems like such a simple thing. Why object and fight it? That I don't quite understand.
No, I don't either, especially when it's coming from the kids.
Yeah.
You know, and the parents, obviously. It's a nice recognition. I'm sure if it was 2 years ago, he may or may not have had a nice memorial service. It's hard to know. But just
because it was before COVID.
Okay.
But it just that outpouring of love and care, and we're going to
caring,
have that chair at graduation, and they're being told there's a policy against it. And she says Becky said she's read the policy books and there's nothing about it. She can change things moving forward for everybody if they will respond. Graduation is just around the corner. That I think this is a beautiful gesture, and I think it's a misplaced idea that that we can't grieve, that it might ruin a special day.
Not grieving ruins special days.
Right. Yes.
Not mentioning it. For this family to pretend he wasn't in that class is very heartbreaking, and they've been through a lot of heartbreak.
Well, you want to hear it gets even worse. He had a cousin. Becky has a niece who's graduating that day. So they would have had their open house together. So it's not like she can pretend or forget, you know, that she will be acknowledging and recognizing that that was graduation day.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I mean, I've been around memorials, and yeah, there's a touch of sadness in you missing, but like you said, not having it brings more sadness and maybe anger to that day.
And one thing that the teens are really good about when someone in their class or someone their age dies is enveloping that family, going over and seeing them. They go over and play hoops in the driveway when they used to with the son, so that the parents haven't lost touch completely with the friends. And teens are really good about doing that and interpreting the emotional stress. You know,
that's very healing, right?
Very healing.
Go ahead.
I struggle to understand why the authorities in this instance, if there was over 1,400 people that signed a petition in just a couple days, why they wouldn't see that as a sign that people are wanting this, that it isn't something that's going to impact people negatively.
Not at all.
I would really encourage people, I'll stick my neck out here, but why don't you also, anybody listening who cares, let your voices be heard. Contact the superintendent of schools, Jason Hornbacher, either with a phone call or a letter, an email, and let them know, like, respectfully, but this would mean a lot going forward, that this is, you know, we owe our students, he was a student of the Bismarck Public Schools.
Yeah.
Why not recognize him with his class on graduation day, the class that he would have been with?
And this is another developmental phase, is learning to deal with grief and learning to care for others and being generous. And that's what these students are wanting to do with their spirit.
Right, we need to do that. We need to heal. And Becky, if you're watching, I want to see a picture of that chair, and I would like you to come on the show too. You know, so I know a friend of yours, so we'll see if you're no pressure, but if you can talk at a school board meeting, you could do this too. So we'll be in touch. We'll be right back with Ladies of Another View. I'm back with Yana Myrtle, Senator from North Dakota.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is now seeking qualified applicants for promotion commercial producer position in our Bismarck Beck location. This position will assist Beck News and Beck Sports. To view the job details, visit www.beck.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View. I'm back, and we are moving right along. We are joined by Senator Jana Myrtle. I think this is your third time, right?
I think
on our show?
I think so.
It's a charm.
Right.
It's awesome. Love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of activity around you. So, and especially right now.
Yep.
You're here to talk about Bill 2030, and that's the bill that prohibits NDSU from continuing a relationship with Planned Parenthood, right?
That's correct.
For teaching sex education. And it passed by quite a healthy margin, right, in the House and in the Senate?
Yeah, veto proof, excuse me, on both sides, and it passed yesterday in the Senate, 35-11, which
35-11,
is shocking. Yeah.
And it passed in the House 66-25.
Yep.
So it's got a lot of support.
It does. So originally the bill was a funding bill for a matching grant for all our higher ed education facilities. It's a program that's great, been going on for a long time. And I threw an amendment on there that's actually out of the Chapter 14 of our Century Code already. It's in law that if you are any kind of institution, subdivision, teaching institution, higher ed, anything that gets state funding, you cannot associate with or partner with an abortion provider. And of course, we know Planned Parenthood is the largest abortion provider in the nation. And not only that, but this is something your viewers need to know, and certainly the governor, their eugenics organization. Their founder was extremely racist. I don't even want to quote some of the things she said about African Americans and trying to destroy their race. So this is an organization that is just no-brainer. We don't want them in North Dakota. And this battle with NDSU specifically has been going on for over a decade. So it's...
well, it's tax-funded.
Yeah.
And, but the president of NDSU doesn't sound like he's going to abide by this.
No, I don't know why he wants to fall on the sword for this, because this is North Dakota. All the other higher ed institutions have said, we get the message. Last session, we had 79 lawmakers sign an open letter to Brishani. When it came to the House side, of course, this amendment didn't have any hearings on the Senate side, because by rule, we can put amendments on the floor. The House can't. They spent almost 3 weeks, a couple hours a day in hearings in the subcommittee in the House, and they discovered that this grant that they give Planned Parenthood through NDSU, it's more than that. They have 3 other programs with Planned Parenthood. It's all embedded in and kind of rooted into NDSU. And what we're trying to say, stay in your lane. You're a great research organization. NDSU, I supported, we just passed their bill today for research and extension. Stay in your lane. Why on earth are you working with this organization? And his argument is that it's academic freedom. Has nothing to do with that. They can research whatever they want. All this bill does, and this is very important to know, you cannot partner with an abortion provider, period. And I don't believe in divorce, but in this case I do. Just get divorced from Planned Parenthood. That's all we're saying.
And Brashani is saying, no, you can't do that. You'd be hindering academic freedom. So the question is, do you think Governor Burgum is going to sign the bill or veto it?
Well, that's the question right now. It's a very veto-proof bill so far. There's a lot of games and stuff going on now. Last 2 days, 3 days of the session, we all know that, where things are being traded back and forth and trying to get everybody's wish list in appropriations bills. We have a few things on our plate that we're going to make sure that doesn't happen on this particular bill. I don't understand, again, the ideology is so strong with this president. It does not hinder academic freedom. It does not take away accreditation. As an example, human cloning, we asked them, do you do human cloning? And they're like, no, because in the law, we told you you can't. Do you do embryonic stem cell research? No, because in law, we tell them they can't. And in Chapter 14, we also tell them you can't associate or partner with an abortion provider. It's just that clear. So it isn't like we're making this up. And this bill and this prospect has huge support. And we've had a lot of NDSU staff that have come to me personally and said, we're with you. We don't understand why our university is diverting into this. And as far as sex education goes, you can keep doing that. DPI already says we don't need Planned Parenthood. This is really a no-brainer, and it's a no-brainer for the governor. And if I may be so bold, call the governor today or tomorrow. Call his office, say that you want 2030 to stand as is. We have no need for that eugenics organization in our state, period.
Okay, so you're asking everybody to call the governor's
Yes, I am.
office, right?
Email
in
us.
case he's tempted to veto this bill.
Do not veto this bill.
Yeah.
And he has an opportunity to veto it after we leave, which is sad. But if he does, that tells a bigger story, I guess.
And was it last year or 2 years ago, 90 representatives, Republicans, wrote him a letter asking him to stop this relationship? Is his job in jeopardy? Can he just do whatever he wants?
Well, apparently, he thinks he's king, and we're the lawmakers. He's not. He runs a great organization, great institution, but this is not about football games. This is not about anything but getting this organization out of our state. And I think his ideology shouldn't stand in the way of the will of the people in North Dakota and the will of the legislators. Yeah, 90, including both all the leadership on both sides, Senate and House, signed that 2 years ago, and they just let it slide, and we're getting tired of it. So this time it actually will cost them $2.8 million plus some other penalties if they continue.
So the governor, this goes to the governor's desk today, and he has, what, 3 days?
3 days.
So that puts us into the weekend, correct?
Friday, and we don't know when we're going to be here.
It's
Today's
Tuesday.
I
Wow.
know, I'm as confused as you are.
Yeah.
Every day we wake up, we don't know what our schedule is going to be. We have about 24 bills left to vote on.
Okay.
I'm going back in as soon as I leave here for session again tonight.
But if
so.
this had a technically veto-proof vote on it, how can he still veto it? Can you explain that to the viewers?
He can, because he has 3 days to sign a bill. He can also choose not to sign a bill, and then it goes into law without a signature. That's a rare thing. But he has 3 days to sign it. So that's kind of a game right now, right? So we're hoping to meet with him tomorrow, a bunch of us from the Senate, and say, these are the legal reasons. This is your cover. You can do this. This does not hurt anybody if you just divorce from Planned Parenthood. Nobody's going to get hurt. No children, no scholarships, nothing. It's that simple. So we're hoping he listens to that, but there's enormous pressure from Planned Parenthood, obviously, because we would be the first state that would be free of their presence, period. And they don't like that. Go North Dakota.
No doubt.
And of course, the higher ed are digging in on this. And the governor, the problem we have is that we have to leave. When we're done, we're done. And we have to save a few days because we have redistricting, we have budgeting to do later this year, and we're down to almost 3 or 4 days left now of our constitutional days that we can be in every, So what we've been pushing for with leadership, maybe we can figure out someday, is that we need to be able to have a veto-proof session right after, like even electronically. Go home this weekend, and if we need to veto it, we should be able to veto it. That's not available right now. It probably should be. It's a balance of government issue,
Always.
for sure. But lawmakers are lawmakers. The governor is not a lawmaker.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
We have a Republican governor. We have a Republican legislature
Yeah.
that is closer to the people and closer to the Republican voters who elected them, and who has the ear of the people and is actually listening to what the people want. But it's the legislators, where in each district you can reach out to your legislator, your senator, your House representatives. You know them. You can talk to them about any of these issues, and they represent you when they're serving in the legislature. The governor doesn't have that same responsibility, and people don't have that same level of access.
Exactly.
So the Republican legislature is passing a bill that the Republican voters want.
Exactly.
The Republican governor should sign it.
Yeah, and I hope he will.
Amen.
I expect him to. I don't see any problem in him signing this particular legislation. We will meet with him hopefully tonight or tomorrow and explain the legal reasonings behind it. So,
I hope. I mean, it's logical. It's the reasonable thing to do. But with Prashani being so arrogant and acting like I don't have to listen to this, I'm wondering
frustrating.
Why is he so confident in himself and so
well,
bold?
He is very bold and he is confident. So we'll see what happens. I guess the political chips will fall where they fall in the next 48 hours. The other thing about what Planned Parenthood actually teaches, and I should have brought the book, but it's kind of X-rated, so I didn't want to bring it on TV.
Well,
But
you know,
it's
might
pretty
help
bad.
with ratings,
Yeah,
right?
After
You might
11
want
o'clock at night, maybe.
You might want to clear it with us ahead of time.
But
though,
it's pretty sad. I took the book and
Yeah.
showed it to all the House of Representatives and
my.
Senators, and some of them almost lost their lunch. And it's for 10-year-olds and up.
Oh, dear Lord.
So
dear.
we don't need that in our state.
No, so no matter what age they are, university or 10-year-olds or whatever,
Risky behaviors.
we don't need the #1 abortion provider to be giving us sex education, do
No.
we?
And then to reap and have clients later on, right?
Well, thank you for coming once again. I know you got a long day ahead of you still.
Yes, we do.
Senator Yana. So thank you for coming, and we'll be right back with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Indoor football is back in Bismarck. Bucks football season is right around the corner. Grab a friend or family member for a night of action-packed, hard-hitting entertainment. The Bucks open at the Bismarck Event Center May 8th as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. Catch the sweetest seats in the house right on the sidelines with VIP service at a Bucks turf table. Available now for single game purchases. Secure your tickets today by calling 701-595-0771. Bucks football, half the field and double the fun.
I'm Rick Becker from No Apologies. Welcome to your after-hours oasis of sanity.
How can these people not see that they're just clowns?
We help simplify and educate you on things going on in the legislature and around the country.
Asking the hard-hitting questions.
But also having flea stack and Marty Krofft stuff, and we've talked about that sometimes. It's bad.
Watch us weeknights at 9 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck, and welcome to the lighter side, and welcome back, Mary. She was running around getting work done, and she's back with us again. We're glad. So we have kind of a chapter, part 2 of the lighter side, because maybe a week or 2 ago I showed a little video from this pastor in Calgary, Canada. His name is Artur Pawlowski. It's a Polish name. He actually lived in Poland under communist rule. He must have been a kid because he doesn't look that old. And the Communist Party really fell in Poland on June 4th, 1989, with the rise of the Solidarity movement, the union. And so let's look at this video. Now, the first part of the video is that the health department came in with police during Holy Thursday, or like it was the Passover weekend, and they wanted to serve him with papers, and he said, "Get out of here! What are you doing coming into my church during this time?" They came back a second time, if you can believe it. Let's watch.
Unbelievable, sick, evil people intimidating people in a church during the Passover. You Gestapo, Nazi, communists, fascists. Don't you dare coming back here.
Okay, that was just
wow,
a little.
Good for him. I mean, I missed that. I was gone that date. Good, fantastic.
Oh my
Stand
gosh.
up.
Yeah,
Yes.
I should put the first clip on.
I've seen it before, but I didn't see that part.
They were in the church, and he drove them out.
Absolutely.
He drove them out and said, "Get out of here. What do you mean by coming into this church?" So I just wanted to catch anybody up who hasn't seen it or hasn't heard about it.
Almost like St. Patrick driving out the snakes. Kind of, sort of. Yeah. Out of Ireland?
Kind of.
But not really. This is more important. Yes.
Or Jesus driving out the sellers in the temple. But whatever, he is not messing around. And because he says, "I've seen this before and I've warned you about it." So they came again. Let's watch.
Talk to my lawyer. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in talking. You see, this is what the Gestapo is doing. You're coming to the place of worship to intimidate and to harass. So you can make an appointment. Lady, listen to me. You can make an appointment another day. You Gestapo! Another day! Not this day! When we were warning Canadians and Americans, Westerners, about what's coming, we could smell it for many years. People are laughing at us. Oh, you're just making this stuff up. You're blowing this out of proportion. You conspiracy theorist. However, it's here. It's here. And you cannot come and worship God without the interference of the Gestapo. You cannot pray with people. You cannot associate. You cannot have a Lord's Supper together. Why? Because the government says so. You would think that this would happen in China, in Russia, but it's happening here in a Western democracy. What are you going to do about it? Will you stand up? Will you fight? Will you push? Or will you just bow to the medical tyranny, because that's what it is, and give up everything? Because they're coming for everything. Wake up or else.
When will you stand up?
Wake up or else. Remember, it's only been 2 or 3 weeks that they've been able to, in California, have services in churches.
So are they having services in Canada? Because there was another priest that was thrown in jail, or he was, I think, a Lutheran pastor. He was thrown in jail for having services, and that was also in Canada. So
I don't know if they're doing, I don't know what they're doing across all of Canada. That was in Calgary. And the problem is they have been threatened, they have been harassed. The one that was thrown in jail, we talked about that last week, they put a fence around the church to stop people from coming in. They're building a fence, and so they're much stricter in Canada than they are here, but of course it's varied from state to state. And he's saying, I watched the whole video, they're coming on Sundays. Like, why don't they make an appointment? He says, talk to my lawyer, come another day. But they come during services to disrupt it.
They're bullies. I'm sorry. I mean, that's a complete bullying tactic.
And here's the deal too. We need to wake up. Some of you think that we're conspiracy theorists. So be it. Maybe we are. However, this is stuff that is happening right now in a country next to us, in our own country. We have got to pay attention to what's going on. Do not let your rights be squelched, because once they're gone, you're not going to get them back.
Absolutely.
Fight. We have to fight for our freedom.
And it isn't just happening in a country next to us, because, you know, last summer when the churches were closed, I was doing a couple interviews with people, and they said, we're talking from California. They said, we can't meet in school, we can't meet in church, but we're talking about having our church services in Lowe's or Menards, because we can meet there. We can go to the hardware store, but we can't go to our churches.
Nothing makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, it's not right. So it's time for us to stand up for our rights. It really is. It's never too late. We've got to keep pecking away, keep plugging away, and just stand for our rights.
As soon as one person has courage, it becomes contagious. And when one person stands, another one joins them, and they lose their fear of saying what's true and what's in their heart, and it encourages another one to do the same. So you just need to grab your neighbor and stand against the things that you think are incorrect.
I'm ready to be courageous.
There you go.
Well, look at this guy, Artur Pawlowski.
And
he drove them away twice with just his voice. They had guns, he didn't, but he got them the heck out of his church. So, and that's what he's telling. That's his message, is that we need to stand up, you guys. Do not let them walk all over you. So
we will win.
We will win. But I tell you what, tomorrow we're all going to win, because we're going to be in Linton, you guys. You have no idea. It's our debut of our first hometown. And if you guys want to have your hometown on our show, give us a call, write us, visit us online at beck.news, and we'll get your hometown on as well.
Absolutely. We'll see you tomorrow with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Bye-bye.